Hey guys, welcome to tonight's stream. And tonight we have, if you were with me last night or this afternoon, you won't have seen this in a while, which is a rather nice inventory. Right, that's still not giving me the right image, but we're not going to worry too much about that yet. So our tooltip text is not correct. Okay, so we're going to fix tooltip text, sorry, our tooltip, and we're going to fix our weight. That's our first two things. You also seen errors in BP fire and BP fuel, so we will sort out the issues with them as well. In fact, without further ado, we shall go to interactable items, go to BP fuel, and we'll find out where the error is. And I kind of knew this was going to be the error, and this is because we changed some of our structs. So what we now have are structs for the helper and structs for the actual item. Okay, and the reason we need them is to stop as much redundant data getting thrown around. Okay, so in effect we're going to be doing that. Okay, you can see now that we're pulling everything from the struct interactable base data type, right, which is our overarching stuff that everything uses, right? For example, the static mesh, the image, the weight, the description, the name, all of those things that are common to all our different interactable items, whereas our struct fuel and all those are now cut down to the very bare bones of what they need to be. Okay, we may end up extending them slightly, right, because there are a couple of things I didn't do with them, but broadly speaking we are getting near to the point of where we were with our fires, etc. So we have an item data, okay, and this is where the first of our items changes. Okay, but we're going to leave this one for now, right, because this is going to be a special case, because this is basically we're going to have to add new things to our fire. Okay, which is fine, that's okay. But we are going to have to do that. So our first tactic here is going to be to get our tooltip working in our inventory. Okay, so with that in mind, that's absolutely fine. and that's fine. But for some reason we are not passing in the correct data. Okay, and if we're not passing in the correct data, well, it ain't going to work. So we need to know from here what data we are actually passing in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down a tad. Okay, now this is on clicked, so that's not the thing we want. It's this here. Okay. And this is inventory. So we're actually looking at this tooltip here. So we want a breakpoint here to find out where our data is coming from. Okay. As I said, we are going to fix the fire, but we're going to leave it for now. Right, so we pick that up, we press our inventory, then that breaks. Okay, and we want to know what this inventory structure is. So this is the tooltip. Okay. So if we resume that, we should be able to see right, so that's using a step over that, and that's plugged into nothing. So we're obviously going to stop that for now. Okay. And we're going to try that again. So inventory, break, resume, step over, and that is nothing. Okay, so whatever we're passing in here, this is nothing. The item data here is nothing. Okay. Except it actually isn't nothing, because we're obviously setting it up there So we've just got the wrong variable, right? And we're getting the wrong sword, we're getting the wrong things, and everything's wrong. Okay. So we need to have a look at our inventory main. Right, and then we're getting our filtered items. And then you see this is not correct. Right? That is not the right thing. Okay. So this is the last of our major issues, I believe. But when we create the slots, okay, we're passing in a filtered item. And it's an inventory item. Okay, now the interesting thing here is if I add a breakpoint here, right, we should get to see that array. Now it is only going to have one item in it, right? So if I do that, we've got item 0, it's deer meat quantity, item type food, blah de blah blah de blah, and we're passing that as a struct. Now let's stop that a second. And if we look at our inventory slot, our item is an inventory item and quantity. Okay. And so when we're creating this, this should be correct. Right, so on event construct, we're getting our item. Okay, we should have a weight. And we do get the quantity later. We do have a name. And this item data, inventory item and quantity. And we are exposing on spawn, etc, etc. which is exactly what we want. Give me 1 second. Right. So as we come in here, this should be something. Right? So when we do this, this should be our item data, right? So for example, if I say break and then we break the item, right, and I say print string, then I say 20 seconds. Right, now we know that the weight should be 1. Okay, but that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to put it in the duration. That would be a bit silly. So we should have it in the description. Okay. So we pick it up. And you can see here that we have a weight of 1. We have a name as deer meat. Okay. And we're going to resume that. Then when we go in here, it suddenly starts working for no apparent reason. Well, that's bizarre, because I didn't change any code. And the interesting thing is here, that our description is not coming in from here. Right? So if we do that again, this is going to be obviously nothing. Okay, but the interesting thing here right, so that's the description. Right. I'm just wondering here something. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to refresh all nodes. And then I'm going to recompile everything. Save it. And then I'll check it again. But what I want to see is when we created this tooltip, right? I did this print string and it didn't do it. Right? But the simple fact of the matter is it probably did, but it doesn't have anything in the description for some reason. The interesting thing here is if I go like that, right, we can actually test this. Because what I can do is I can go like that, okay, and then I can click on that, right? Now it's not giving me the text down here. There's a box for the text down here, so I'm going to have to assume that it has no description, which I'm right. Right, so I'm going to have to go right, that's fine. We don't really need that. But our interactable items, right, we're going to have to check our food types, and they don't have any descriptions, and that's why it's not coming up. Right, so we'll just put in some text here. We'll save that. Okay, then with our tool, we are going to go to food, select that, create it, drag it up. You'll notice now we have a description here. We can press play. We can jog over, pick it up, inventory. And there we have it. Click on it. Cool. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to fix the calculated weight. Okie doke. And that should be fairly easy to do. Okay, so we're looking for, I believe, interactables. our basic items. Right, and this is it here. And then wherever we recalc the weight, this is where we need to do it. Okay, so temp weight, we've got our inventory. We're not getting the data from there. Alright, we're going to break that. And that's going to go there. We're going to break that. That's going to go there. Then we're going to minimize that a bit. And that might just be all we need to do. Right, so if I press play, go to inventory, we've got our 1 kilogram. Right, if I go back into the editor helper, right, and I select a weapon, right, and we'll stick it there. Okay, and then we're going to press play. We should be able to pick up both these items, and it's going to calculate the weight for us. Okay, so we hit inventory, we've got 2 items, and we've got 3 kilograms. Awesome. We can take a look at our awesome halberd, etc. We can take a look at this, which is awesome, and we can get back out. Now I'm going to have to redo the sorting, maybe, but we shall worry about that one later, I think. That's working. That's all working. That's coming under tools, so this is all still working nicely. And there we go. So our next point of call is going to be our fires. Now I don't know if I've got that open. We'll have a look and see. We have. We can find out where the issue is. Yeah, okay. So we can see here what we need. We need the use montage, and we need the delay action for montage. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our item helper, we don't do anything particularly with that, right? But we go in here, and that's okay. Now, the fire's going to take a little bit more work. And that's because we're going to have to put in either a resource here or in the actual fire table, right? But we are definitely getting closer. We have a struct fire, and this is actually the struct helper fire. So I'm going to rename that to helper fire. And we've got our fire types. Okay. And we are going to be adding to these. There is defaults though, so it's fine. It's not in there. So probably the struct helper fire is going to be exactly the same as the normal fire, or we might just use the helper fire. It doesn't really matter, but we are going to add use montage, which is going to be, believe it or not, a montage. And delay action for montage, and that is going to be a bool. And we are going to have that as a default for our fires, and we're going to click that to true. Okay, so when we now look at our DT fire types, each of them are going to use that, right? So we just need those, we actually just need those two. Wait a minute. We don't, we need that for it to get set up, right? So that's, we don't need that set up. Right, so we are going to need these, but we've already got that as a structure anyway, so once those are all set up, we actually don't need those. All we need is the delay action for montage, and we just need those two variables, right? Because the rest, well, we're going to need the particle system and the Niagara system. We're going to need these four, right? Because the rest is when you set it up, right? Which means that we don't need any of those, right? Okay, this is going to be the struct fire. Okay, so in our BP fire, right, we're going to have this fire data, and it's actually going to be just struct fire, right? But when we set it up, so basically what we'll do is we'll refresh, and it's not actually the base data we're getting for this for the first time, right? Because we don't actually need the base data, or at least we don't need it yet. What we're actually going to do is going to get our fire data, right? And we probably don't need the particle height, and we probably don't need the Niagara or anything either. All we need is these two here, right? So we do that, and that's the montage. And if there's no montage, we don't do basically anything, right? Then we can connect this one up. Hi, Gull McLego. How are you doing, bud? What's up? Don't know. Good question. What is up? I don't know if there's anything particularly up today. Or if you're talking about today, it might be this week. I don't know. Could be various different things. Right, so we're basically going to tidy this up a bit. Kinda. I'm doing good, you. I'm doing fine. We are doing good. We are gradually getting this back to the state it was before, but we are not using an inordinate amount of excess redundant data. Okay, so when we set the fire up, we're going to set this fire data up. Okay, and that'll be fantastic. And what about you, Gull? What are you working on? Are you working on something, or just mucking around, or whatever? So our next thing is, I'm tempted to close all these down again. Yeah, let's close them all down. Let's get a fresh screen on the go. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our editor helper, and we are going to go to here, and we're going to find our fire, and that's the ladder, and there's the fire there. Okay, so we're going to close this, we're going to delete that, we're going to refresh the nodes on that, then we're going to make a fire data. Okay, and we're going to continue with that. We're going to continue with that. Now I believe we're still going to have a little bit of an issue unless we tell it we don't need resources. Okay, which is a way we could test it. Okay, so we set up our relative Z position of a particle system, and then we set up the particle system itself, and we don't need this really, because basically that's taken care of. We don't need the Niagara or Cascade system, so we can basically take them out the struct, right? And all we need is the montage and the delay action. Okay, so basically we should go back to our these things, and we should go back to our struct fire, right? And we should remove that, that, and that. Okay, and then we have basically no redundant data there. Okay, so now that we've done that, you'll notice that this is now a good damn bit smaller, or darn bit smaller, depending on how you want to say it. We can set these however we want. We are just setting it to a cascade system at the moment. And these are all a bit iffy squiffy. I'm sure we could drag them up a bit. Right. Now, this is where the fun starts. Okay. So that's going to basically set up our fire. Okay. And they're all set to default to the same stuff. So some of them are going to be weird, but as long as the sort of first one works, then our design mechanics are correct. So if we go back to here and we say In fact, the first thing we'll do, right, is we'll go to BP Fire, and I think I had left these on, right? So if we go to our cascade system, right, we want auto activate off. Now if this all works, it'll be a miracle, right? There is absolutely zero reason this should work still. I'm expecting a bug or two. Okay, so we're going fire, right? We're going brazier, we're going create, and it didn't work, which is awesome. Now, is it actually creating anything there? Yeah, it did. But we've got nothing again there. And we have nothing there. You'll notice we have got our stuff here, but we don't have our item data. Okay. You'll notice as well that the resource isn't set. So it's basically our tool that's causing a problem. Now I did tell you that it wasn't going to work. And I was incredibly right. I didn't expect it to work on the first go. Right, and that is because we haven't set the item data. We've set the fire data, but we haven't set the item data. Okay. So we have to set the item data. And you'll notice that's not right. And we want all of them. Right. So we're going to make an item data here. And to start with, we'll do it down here. Now, some of these we don't necessarily need. But we'll use them anyway. There's description. Doesn't matter about a weight, to be honest. And we're going to have some, right, I'm just going to type this in, but this is going to be light, right? We're going to have to put them in later. Okay, now if I do that, do we get what we want? Make sure there's no other fires. to okay, and we still get nothing. I know what the problem is. Or at least I think I know what the problem is. Okay, apparently I don't know what the problem is. That doesn't do anything. This is all the switching heat on and off and stuff like that. So it's nothing to do with that. Okay, now my issue is there was something here at a point. I don't know what it was, but it was there. Okay. So we're going to go back to here. These aren't connected, that's why it's not doing it. God, I'm a dummy. Right. Save that. I'm glad I didn't go too mental changing things. Right, we're going to delete that. Right, and we're going to select a fire again. Click on that. Create interactable. And there we go. Now, I'm going to go and get a break for 2 minutes. I'm going to have a quick cigarette, which will take me about 2.5 minutes to smoke. I shall be right back. If you're enjoying the content, hit like and subscribe. I'm going to talk really fast now to get this all out. So check out the description for my Discord. I'm always in there when I'm not basically streaming. Also my Patreon, where you can support the channel and the game, and finally my previous game on Steam. I would appreciate it even if you added it to your wish list. That would be great. I shall be right back. Don't go anywhere, folks. Okay guys, we are back. And now to see how our fire does. We can light it. Ooh, that was close to working. It didn't play the animation. But it did do all the stuff that it should have done. Okay. So, if we go back to our blueprint, and we actually go to our content browser again, and we go to our item data tables, and our fire types. We didn't save them, but I'm not convinced that this might be the wrong one. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to animations and survival, campfire, this one. Okay. Then we are going to press play again. And that's not getting me the right animation to play. But I'm not too worried because it's looking actually pretty decent. It's doing the stuff that it should be doing, it's just not playing the animation. Right, which is fine. It's not perfect, but we can see when we do this, we can see what this value is. Add breakpoint. Alright, hang on a second. And we've got our breakpoint there, so we can check it out and see what happens. Right, so it didn't go in there. Okay, what I'm going to do is refresh all nodes and compile. Then I'm going to save all. Okay. I'm going to check this, and I'm sure there's something goes in here, but I can't remember what it is. Okay, but this should be firing. How can that not be using? How can that not be firing the event? That's bizarre. Right, because it's doing this. And it's doing this, but it's not breaking. Okay. So that is absolutely bonkers. So what I'm going to do is go into the pawn and it's none of them. It's going to be probably this one. Yep. So add breakpoint. Okay. Right. So we step into, and it's our interactable. So we step over, step over, step over, step into, step over, and it is a montage. Ah, this isn't this. This should be ref character. Or wait a minute. Ah. Okay. We delete that. We get this. And I'm thinking now that we're going to have to pass the animation in. So this is going to have an input, and it's going to be montage to play. And it's going to be animation anim montage. Right. And that's going to go in there, and then this can go here. Save that. Okay. And then back in our fire, we're going to plug that in there. And this is going to be the same for the skinning thing. Right, when we get round to doing the skinning the animal thing. So we'll need to remember that. But this node's going to be here anyway, so it's going to be empty, so it's going to be fairly obvious. It was weird why it wasn't calling that though. Or it wasn't breaking there. You see, it's breaking now. And that's because I think I forced it through. Disable that, resume that. And it's still not playing it. Right, let's have a look. I'll get this. We'll add a breakpoint here. This should all be cool. And I'm just wondering if this thing needs a refresh all nodes and a compile. Alright. So we have our play montage. There we have it. And that's the start fire lighter one. Why is that the start fire later one? Ah, it's because I've not. Oh, what an idiot. Right, okay. I think I know what's wrong here. Okay. I've redone that, but I haven't done the actual ones, and it's this 4 one, and this is the old skeleton, right? So that's basically why it's not bleeding working, I don't think, because I'm an idiot. Right, so we should really put that one in there, and we should do it for them, for them all. Should save that. And this is because these other animations were targeted at a different skeleton, okay? And I believe that's why it wasn't working. We'll soon find out, I suppose. Right, so we've got our play montage, we've got our step over. Right, we've now got our montage, kneel down, start fire, lighter. And it still says old skeleton animations. And I'm still a bloody idiot, right? That's because we need to recreate this. Because it's already set that up, right? So we actually need to set it up here. And you'll notice now that when we set that up, in our fire data, it's got the right one now, the flint montage, right? So I'm going to just resume it, and there she goes. Yee, rock and roll. If we do it again, she's going to switch it off. And there we go. Okay. So we're gradually getting things back on track. Gradually. So that's our fire back working. So the only thing we've got really to do now, we've really got to sort out, is the dead animals. Right? As far as being completely back on track. Okay? So, with that in mind, let's go to your content browser. Let's go to our wildlife. Let's get our goat first. Right. In fact, let's shoot a goat, right? Right, so we've hit the goat. And I don't know why I pressed escape. That was a bit super silly. You'll notice, yeah, she's walking. I can't see a thing for the fire everywhere. So I basically don't know where the goat is. Oh, there's the goat. And it's dead. And we crashed. Oh, that's awesome. So we have got some dead animal issues here. We just need to fix it up in whatever way we need. Hopefully we've not lost a heck of a lot of our data. And it is going to be our dead animals, right? Let's face it, it's going to be the dead animals. And this is the interactable item SK, right? So this is slightly different because it's a skeletal mesh rather than a static mesh, right? And we only have this. And we need to open up our maps again. I'm afraid to do this. Well, that's still there. I'm going to save all at this point, and then I'm going to press play. And I'm going to see if this still works. Apparently not. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to go into here. And we're going to check our BP fire, and that looks good. Then we'll check this. This looks good. And you can see that we're back to this lighter thing. So this is going to be fairly easy to solve. We just basically remove that. We stick in our fire. Then we check it. And it's brought in the right thing there, so that's fine. Then we press play. Okay. And there we go. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to save all, right? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to crash it, but I'm going to do interactable items, and then I'm going to go dead BPs, and then I'm going to bring in the dead goat. Okay. And then we're going to be doing a use montage on this. Okay. And that's not going to exist. And we're going to need to do this one as well. So first things first, right, we're going to click on this, and this is going to be montage to play, and that's going to be animation anim montage, right, and that is going to go right there. Okay, then we're going to go to here, and we're going to select that, and we'll straighten this for now. And we'll see if there's anything else where the whole thing is going to basically crash. It's probably going to be here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to change this as well. Okay. We're disabling everything there. Yeah, it's this one here, right? So we're going to have to do a little bit of work on this, but in theory, it's not going to be that bad. Right, but it doesn't seem to like when we do that. Right, and that's obviously something to do with our SK interactable. Right. It does not like whatever it is we're doing. So we're going to have to open that up again. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see if this has still got the right animation on it, which it has. Then we're going to check this. And we have got a dead animal. Right, but what we really need to see is this interactable SK, because we have made a few changes to the other one. And I'm not 100% sure if we need to do that. So there's something going wrong. Right about here. So what we can do is we can check on it. Right, we've got a dead item there, right? We've got a dead animal. Now, what data does it have and what data does it not have? It's got that. Now, it's got its SK mesh. And it's got all that. And we've got a can use. Right, so our issue here, and we might end up crashing a couple of times again over this, is we add a breakpoint here, we're going to see where exactly this is falling over. Now, it might be something to do with this widget here. And actually the best idea here is refresh all nodes, compile everything. Right, but my money is on this create widget, okay? Right, so that breakpoint is obviously in the wrong place. Okay, resume. Okay, so we haven't crashed yet. And we have got an interactable item. Now, we're trying to create our thing. Yep, it's that widget that's crashing us. Right, but at least we know where it is. Right, so we know where the crash is. We know when we pass that data in, there's something going on. Okay, so we are actually, I think that's 2 days, about 2 days or about 3 days of redesigning the interactable items and trying to get rid of any redundancy, and after 2 days I think we've got it, most of the back broken of it now, I would have to say. Right, which is good. So we're trying to create a widget, okay? And this widget is basically dying when we try to create the interact widget, okay? Which suggests that this item data is incorrect. Because it's now the interactable base data. Okay. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to need in all of this. I'm guessing interact text. I'm not too 100% sure what I need here, if indeed I need really anything. I don't even think I need these meshes. Right, so I'm going to do that. And this might crash again. And there we go. It's not going to give us any items, but that's cool. It's all good. That worked pretty much fine. Excellent. Well, excellent to a point. Excellent to the point that we can actually do something here. Okay. Now, the thing is now, that is all good. We need to change this. Okay. Now, that's going to be a fairly big job. So, I'm going to do that probably off stream tonight and tomorrow morning. As I said, I don't really want to start it right now. I've been at this all day, fixing this all up, and we are in a good position now that there's only a few things that I need to do to get it to work. So with that in mind, guys, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the stream and the content, hit the like and subscribe. Check out the description for my Discord. I'm usually in there answering questions or whatever while I'm not on stream. Also my Patreon to support the game and the channel. And finally my previous game on Steam, which is a little tower defense game, if you are into that sort of thing. Or even just adding it to your wish list, which would help me out. So thanks for you watching once again, and I shall see you tomorrow at 2 PM Central. Bye bye for now.